You know, some stories are just timeless. They don't just tell us about how things were way back when, they actually hold a mirror up to our own world. We're about to dive into one of those, an ancient parable about a very wise king, his two sons, and a test designed to find out what really, truly makes a great leader. So let me ask you this. What's the real sign of a great leader? Is it just about raw power? Is it about having tons of money in the treasury? Or maybe it's the giant monuments they build? Or is it something else entirely, something deeper? That very question is right at the heart of this story. According to a lot of ancient wisdom, a complete ruler isn't just one thing. They have to be like four people rolled into one. To really lead a kingdom, you had to master four totally different areas, four essential pillars that held the whole thing up. And it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, right? You need to be a warrior to protect everyone and keep the borders safe. You've got to be a merchant to make sure the economy is booming and people have opportunities. Then you have to be a teacher to nurture the culture and knowledge of your nation. And of course, a politician to handle the tricky business of actually governing. If any one of those is missing, the whole kingdom is at risk. A real leader had to be Okay, so let's get to our king. He's wise, he's getting older, and he has two sons. Now, both of them have been trained from the day they were born to be these four people in one. And on the surface, they are both absolutely perfect candidates for the throne. And, well, that was his big problem. The king was facing what felt like an impossible choice. I mean, he gave them the best tutors, the best military trainers, and he had them right there at his council table. If you looked at their resumes, they were basically identical. So what do you do when qualifications just aren't enough to tell you who's the right person for the job? Well, you've got to create a real-world test. The king's solution was actually pretty brilliant. He gave each son a city to govern for one single year. That's it. No rulebook, no check-ins, just 1 year to show what they were made of. At the end of that year, the king himself would visit, inspect their work, and then he'd make his final decision. So, a year goes by. The king and his ministers hit the road. Their first stop, the city run by his first son. And as they get close, wow, it's a sight to see. They're met with this dazzling spectacle, a city that just seems to glitter in the sun. The streets were lit up so brightly it was like daytime even at night. The roads were brand new, just beautifully paved. The city walls were covered in flowers and gorgeous trees. I mean, on the surface, this place was a masterpiece. It absolutely screamed prosperity and success. But then, the king started to look a little closer. He looked past all the shiny new things and he looked at the people. He noticed their faces seemed tired, worn out. Their shoulders were slumped. And the smiles they gave him, they felt hollow, like their happiness was just for show. The city's glimmer was just a facade, hiding this deep, unspoken anxiety. The king stayed for a few days, taking it all in, and then he traveled to the city of his second son. And the moment he walked through the gates, he could feel it. This place was different. The vibe in the air wasn't about putting on a show. It was about genuine, bustling, happy life. See here, the focus wasn't on fancy decorations, it was on the fundamentals. The city's borders were secured, so robbers were a thing of the past. New businesses were popping up all over, trade was booming, and the public areas were clean and organized. You could just feel this tangible sense of safety and opportunity. This son clearly got it. A leader's job isn't about appearances. It's about creating an environment where people can actually thrive. The people didn't just give the king a polite greeting. They celebrated his arrival. They showered him with blessings, and not because of pretty roads, but because this new leader had truly changed their lives for the better. They felt safe. They knew their property was protected. Their families could build a future. Their happiness was the real deal. The king had seen everything he needed to see. He went back to his palace and summoned both of his sons to the throne room. It was time for them to give their reports, and time for him to deliver his judgment. The first son, he spoke with so much pride about everything he'd accomplished. The look of the city, the lights, the roads. His whole focus was on what he had built. Then the second son spoke, also with pride, but his focus was completely different. He talked about making the city safe, getting rid of crime, and boosting the economy. He was focused on who he had built up, his people. The king listened to both of them, and then he delivered this timeless lesson. Making a city look good is one thing, but it's not enough. True leadership, he declared, is ruling the hearts and minds of your people. Real power is when your people are genuinely happy with you. And with that, he named his second son his successor. And so this ancient story leaves us with a pretty powerful question for our own time. When we look around at our own communities, our nations, our leaders, what do we see? Are they building cities of empty glimmer, full of impressive projects but anxious people? Or are they building cities of thriving hearts? The answer to that question, well, it tells us everything we need to know.